Alright. Time to talk about something that I'm really obsessed with. Well, I shouldn't say obsessed with. I've just had spurts where I played it a lot when I was a kid. You know. Time to do it. Alright, what is this? How The Sims Sold Out by Mr. Big Tug. Oh boy, I have a lot to say about this, so forgive me. Forgive me.
Go to extratug.com for exclusive comedy content that YouTube won't let me post, as well as posts that
cringe.
you have to see to believe. In 2012, the Museum of Modern Art announced that it would be adding 40 games to its permanent collection. Iconic titles like Pong, Super Mario Brothers, and Pac-Man. And included in these industry-defining games, games that were going into a very fancy and important museum, was The Sims.
Yeah.
You guys know The Sims, right?
I can see that.
How do you not know The Sims? Arguably the purest expression of
If you had a sister or a mom that was into video games, she probably played The Sims. Like 99% chance. She might have played it once or twice, but she definitely played it.
Life in a video game
The
form
Sims?
ever,
No!
except maybe Spore.
The Sims!
People were mean to Spore when it came out.
Dude, this game was revolutionary.
Really liked Spore. Granted, I was like 11, but it was a really good game, and I feel like people should give it another try. The Sims is also maybe the only game where you can play rock, paper, scissors against the Grim Reaper. Today, The Sims is one of the best-selling franchises of all time, and its creator, Will Wright, is recognized as one of the most important figures in the history of gaming. But weirdly, back in 1980, Wright was—
I don't know if this is brought up, but a really fun factoid that I really want to bring up to you guys, because I'm really enthusiastic about it. The reason why they even made it a decorating game as opposed to like a city building or a house building game is because Bill Wright's daughter freaking enjoyed the game so much she just said like, "Hey daddy, can you put decorating in the game?" And he's like, "Okay, sure." And that's how his daughter asked him to do it. Yep, look it up, it's real.
Only concerned with winning the U.S. Express, an illegal coast-to-coast car race. Wright and his partner, Rick Doherty, traveled from New York City to Santa Monica in 33 hours and 39 minutes. They regularly reached speeds of 120 miles per hour, and Wright even brought night vision goggles with—
Dude, this guy's a badass. What the fuck?
The idea that they can drive with the headlights off at night to avoid attracting attention from the cops. This is the behavior—
Dude, he's a nerd rock star. What the fuck?
Of a maniac, but frankly, a cool as shit.
Designing virtual dollhouses by day, racing against cops by night. What an actual crazy motherfucker.
Person, if I might say. It's the type of badassery that could only be pulled off by a real rebel. And it does not sound like the behavior of a corporate shill or a man who would sell out, right? Doesn't sound like that. No. And yet somehow The Sims owes its entire existence and 20 years of relevance to selling out over and over and over again. Money. I'm pretty pissed about The Sims, and I'm gonna make a whole video about it, gang. Will Wright's
I'm surprised there's a guy out there who's as passionate about Sims as I am. It's usually just like girls bitching about it. This is gonna sound so cringe. I have watched probably like at least 10 to 20, maybe even 30 videos talking about the downfall of the Sim, and they're all by women basically. Maybe like 2 or 3 men in the entire portfolio. It's mostly like a girl's passion game.
First attempt at designing simulation-style games came after his work on the 1984 game Raid on Bungling Bay. A game that literally none of us know about.
Bungling is such a funny word,
I might as well have made up a name, because you don't care. That's not the important part. But he realized that he was having more fun creating the worlds in the game than blowing them up, which was pretty much the entire point of the Bungling Bay game. That's just what you did back then. That's all people wanted. The gamer boys all wanted to just blow shit up. And he was giving them that opportunity, but he realized the best part was making the stuff that you're blowing up. It's pretty much Legos, is what we're talking about. After its release, he continued experimenting with the game's level editor. He even went as far to read up on urban planning and used his newfound knowledge to add elements like traffic and ecosystem and people into his game code. This side project took on a life of its own, and it became SimCity. Obviously, we're talking about SimCity.
People love that shit,
and
dude.
of course, SimCity
I like
comes first.
SimCity.
SimCity, if you have no clue, which is so shocking to me, was a city-building simulation game, and at that time, it was an anomaly in the industry. You gotta understand, this was the 80s.
Yeah.
Cozy games like Animal Crossing and Harvest Moon, that was not the vibe. Not the vibe at all. Games pretty much had two vibes. Outer space, blow shit up. That's all you could do in the 80s.
Yeah, killing zombies or skeletons. That was another one. Or dying of dysentery. Yeah.
Be a little Italian plumber or play sports. Those are your only options.
Yep.
And this is why Wright had such a hard time getting SimCity published. Nobody could really wrap their heads around a game where you didn't really win or lose. And with exactly zero interest from the gaming industry, Wright had to find his own way into doing this. He eventually teamed up with entrepreneur Jeff Braun to create Maxis, their own publishing company that would release SimCity. And while initially it did do pretty bad, it sold pretty poorly, it became an indie darling. And while originally it did really bad, no one cared. Obviously, no one cared. You couldn't blow anything up, really. It became a critical darling. It was named the best game of the year by Computer Gaming World and Game Player, along with a slew of other accolades. The positive press helped increase the game's visibility and eventually sold 500,000 copies for PC and 1 million on the Super Nintendo and other consoles. And you know how, like, when Minecraft came out, like, I think universities started using it to teach students some stuff? That's what they did with SimCity. Several universities used the game in urban planning and political science classes, and in 1990, the Providence Journal asked 5 mayoral candidates to manage SimCity towns designed after Providence. And according to reports, the mayoral race was really tight that year, and at least one Democratic candidate said their poor performance in the subsequent article written about it was because of how badly they did making a city in SimCity. So SimCity declares who's gonna.
Yeah, I would be a good mayor, you guys.
Win mayoral
I would be able to
elections.
manage the SimCity chat.
They said SimCity is the reason they lost the election, which is crazy. Also, if you've ever wondered how important Providence, Rhode Island is to the rest of the country, this is the shit they do to find a mayor. They make them play SimCity. So obviously, not the top brass. But anyway,
we need to get to a point where we have mayors fighting in CS:GO. Yeah.
Anyway, SimCity became so popular that it spawned several spin-offs like Sim Earth, which was basically a version of playing God, and Sim Ant, which is, I guess, the exact opposite of that. Although I did feel like God when I was killing ants as a child with a big old magnifying glass, so pick your poison. But none of these new titles matched the success of SimCity, and even though Maxis branched out, publishing titles like 3D Pinball...
They made this game? This is the GOAT of, like, free gaming when you had no internet. I played this. Like, one of my earliest memories was taking my dad's work laptop and playing the pinball game. Oh my god, I didn't know that they made this. No wonder they're the GOAT, man.
Space Cadets. Remember that shit? Is anyone old enough to remember turning on your windows and that thing would come up? I think it was free. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's probably why they didn't have any money. But yeah, they eventually needed more money.
My dad had it,
pretty
on
much,
his laptop.
They only made one
We didn't
pretty
have a
popular
lot of
game.
games.
So they sold out for the first time in 1997 when Maxis was acquired by Electronic Arts.
Ooh.
And if you know anything about Electronic Arts or EA, you'll understand that this is immediately the beginning of a downfall. Right?
Well, EA started off like really good. They were a good publisher. Same with Activision, actually. Activision was a pretty wholesome publisher, and then money came into the picture, unfortunately.
They had the idea for The Sims well before the EA acquisition.
But that was like, what is it now, like 30 years ago, maybe like longer. Like,
lost his home in the Oakland firestorm in 1991. Through the process of replacing all of his belongings, he began to question the idea of possessions, wondering if purchases really fulfilled our needs and made us happy. This inspired him to create a game where players built a home and then furnished it and just checked if people were having fun doing that. Little spoiler here, people loved it. People loved doing that. However, he needed some way of, quote, scoring how well the house was furnished, and that was the aha moment. The game didn't need people to critique the house. The game needed people to live inside the house and see how well they could live in said house. However, Maxis put the game on the back burner in 1993 after an overwhelmingly negative response from focus groups. But once EA acquired Maxis, the game got a second chance, and that's where we get The Sims, baby girl. The idea was simple. Create a family and control the decisions that affect their everyday lives. That's it. You begin with 20,000 simoleons, which is the in-game currency. You build a home and you start from there, which is crazy because at this point it was normal to start your life with $20,000. You'd be so f***ed nowadays. But in The Sims, there's no winning or losing. All you need to do is manage your Sims' 8 basic needs.
What do you mean?
Hunger,
freaking
energy, comfort,
$20,000?
fun, hygiene, social, bladder, and room. And if you f*** any one of those up, they die pretty horribly. However, you satisfy each one of these categories is up to you.
No, that's not true. If you don't satisfy the bladder meter, you just piss yourself.
But like I said, if you f*** up, they die horribly. If you want them to sit around and eat pizza all day, fine. That's what I do. And if you were a degenerate, you could force them to pee in their pants, drown them, and even set them on fire. Little caveat here, all the people say that boy games are violent where we shoot people. That's fine, but I've seen what girls do to The Sims and their Animal Crossing villagers.
Oh, when I was in primary school or elementary or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I remember I went to a friend's house and we popped off all the Barbie and the Ken dolls' heads, and we thought it was funny, and then we threw them at the big oak tree that was outside of her house, and we wanted to see who could throw it the highest. I think I was 7 or 8, maybe 9, I don't remember. We popped them all off and then threw them. Like, I don't even know why. I think it was the boys' idea. We were like, oh, that sounds awesome. It was me and my friend and her friend.
You're doing f***ing genocide to these people. In the hands of bored and sadist gamers, these poor Sims were tortured and often came face to face with the Grim Reaper. But despite the really creepy implications of how people were using this game, The Sims was an instant hit. It sold millions of copies and was named Game of the Year for 2000 by GameSpot and Game Informer.
Fun fact. My brother broke up with his girlfriend, and he had The Sims and a bunch of DLC, probably like 3 or 4, and she loved it, but he got to keep it after they broke up. Yeah, they like lived together. That's how I got to know The Sims and The Sims 2, because they had both. It was like Sims Pets and Sims Party Life, or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah, like the DLC with the parties and shit. You got the kids in the divorce? Yeah, you got the cat too. He did. It wasn't a divorce, they broke up, but yeah.
Things that used to be really important,
I was a kid.
Not anymore.
It was a
now
big
we just
deal.
look at Metacritic. Mugenics is a really good game, by the way. In which, for a little context, in the year 2000, there were other very popular PC games that are still very popular to this day. And The Sims beat them. We're talking Doom. We're talking Counter-Strike. Violent, scary at times, up games. But The Sims was boring. But it was refreshingly boring. It was a sandbox that challenged your imagination by mirroring your own humanity. It spawned several sequels, and in less than a decade, it sold over 100 million copies worldwide. So, doing pretty good. How could this go wrong?
Really good.
Well, part of the enduring success of The Sims is due to the game's expansion packs. And this is
Dude, even the Sims 1 expansion packs were fucking incredibly expensive. Yeah, by today's standards, I don't know what the exact number is. I was a kid, I never bought the games, but the expansion packs for Sims 1, and that came in like 2000 or something, right? That cost like $20 or $30. But granted, the difference is they had a lot of content in comparison to what they try to excuse as an expansion pack. Yeah.
We get this is oh god damn it, they are so greedy. The idea of expansions for games has been around since at least 1981 with a little game called Questi. We all know that game, but The Sims really perfected the model. Not only did they allow the developer to cater to users' specific gameplay requests, but they helped drive the long-term popularity of the game while adding in product placements for companies like IKEA and H&M. That is, it makes sense, but like, oh, that's so stupid. But chalk one up for selling out or being greedy or whatever we're keeping a counter on right now, because the original Sim game did not have 1, did not have 2, but it had 7 expansions.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but it was like, it was a lot of content, to be fair. I'm not excusing it, but like, at least, at the very least, they fucked you for like how much it costed and stuff, but at least it was a lot of content.
The Grim Reaper as an actual NPC, well, you gotta pick the Live in Large expansion for that one. Want a DJ booth, celebrity cameos, and a dance floor?
I actually want to look it up. How much money did the original Sims 1 DLCs cost? $25 to $35 between 2000 and 2003. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
Well, you're gonna need the house party expansion pack. Want a downtown area where you can meet potential mates? Well, you need the hot date expansion pack.
Yeah, this is the one my brother had, yep.
break from the work and hit the slopes or the beach, you need the vacation expansion pack. Want a pet? You need the unleashed expansion pack. Want to become a famous and win a Simmy award? You need a superstar expansion pack. Want to turn this real life simulation into a world full of spells and potions? You need the Making Magic expansion pack. If you bought the original Sims game and then all of the expansions, it would have cost you $250.
That's insane back then.
Overall, people did that. People loved it. They loved it so much, and it was a bad vibe for the rest of the gaming industry because people realized what they could do. By the way, this isn't simoleons. This is real life money. It's not. You can't.
I was looking it up. Yeah, it's $460 or $470. It's an insane amount of money. I paid $0. I may or may have not paid $0 for Sims 3. Yeah.
And glitch the game and get free expansion packs. But while having an in-game currency isn't unique to The Sims, it is part of what makes the game so immersive, along with other world-building features like Simlish. You guys know about Simlish? That gibberish the characters talk in the game? That's a real goddamn language. Simlish is the gibberish language all the Sims speak. It debuted in the 1996 flight simulator SimCopter and became the subsequent language for the Sims universe. Initially, Ro Wright envisioned a language similar to the Womp Womp style of adult speech in the Charlie Brown universe, but initial attempts of Charlie Brown speak for The Sims were unsuccessful. Then the developers had voice actors read dialogue in bits from Swahili, Cherokee, Ukrainian, and Navajo. Nothing seemed to be working until one of the developers had an idea. What if we all... Gang, what if we all did a little improv? That's the answer to every corporate problem. A little improv. Forced improv for the employees. Normally, this is the type of suggestion that should get you banished from any room, unless you're the master of craft performing at Second City or UCB. But in the recording booth, this voice actor began playing the improv game Foreign Poet, where you recite a made-up poem in a made-up language. And the results were goddamn exactly what Wright was looking for. And over the last 25 years, the nonsense of Simlish has actually taken on some semblance of consistency, to the point where there are defined words and phrases. For example, su means hello, nubu means baby or nobu. I haven't played The Sims in a long time. It's not like I would know the language. Baba snot means I don't like you, and Bebdu means I'm on fire. Okay, well, that one, I guess I should know that because I at least used to set a lot of Sims on fire. Simlish has become so ingrained in Sims culture that several pop stars have re-recorded songs in that language. Katy Perry recorded her Billboard top song that last Friday night in entire Simlish for the game. And the Black Eyed Peas re-recorded 9 songs for the unfortunately named The Herbs Sims in the City, which is a game I owned, and it confused the shit out of me because it is very much not.
I had The Sims 2 on the PlayStation Portable, and I thought that shit was so confusing because it had like an actual storyline, and you couldn't do certain things until like you've completed the quests and stuff. Yeah, like that was crazy. I had the PlayStation Portable game.
Like The Sims, and it's pretty much like, hey, do you like The Sims? Black people, like that was the game, and I'm not saying it was good. And ironically, the song "Let's Get It Started,"
what do you
which
mean
did
by
not
that?
used to be called "Let's Get It Started," sounds even worse when translated to "Garatada." It's, you know what I mean? Like if they're saying the original words. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But besides the language, recurring.
I kind of want to look it up. I kind of want to look it up. Black Eyed Peas Sims version. Garatada. Yo, it sounds better than the OG. No, yo, that's so good. I can't keep playing it. I was gonna get copyrighted.
Characters in the Sims universe contributed to world building. Sure, the game is notorious for allowing users to create their own Sims, but it's characters like Bella Goth that help you feel like you've actually stepped into a new.
Oh my god, dude. This is one of the OG characters.
World. She appeared in the very first Sims game as part of the Goth family, including hubby Mortimer and daughter Cassandra. But in The Sims 2, Bella had disappeared. Last seen at the house of local ladies man Don.
Oh yeah, you have to find her in the PlayStation Portable game. Bro, I'm having like the weirdest like nostalgia trip. Like I had these memories locked away forever.
Lothario. However, she can be found in several of the neighborhoods throughout the game, but she has no memory at all. What is
they
this
tied
weird
that in with
world
the
building
PlayStation
thing?
Portable game.
Was something horrible happen to Bella Goth? She doesn't know what happened to her or that she has a family.
She
Players who explore
sassy.
around the neighborhood will eventually find a crashed UFO, suggesting that Bella was abducted by aliens who erased her memory. However, in The Sims 3, Bella is back, baby. Let's go. Well, sort of. Not, I gave that too much hype. She's kind of back. Even though the game is set in the past, she lives in a town set in the future. Okay, making sense so far?
No.
Okay, good, because she's also a ghost, I guess. And though it's never explained how she died, players learn that at some point she became an empress on an alien planet. Confusing matters even more is that she shows up in The Sims 4, but that game takes place on an alternative timeline, so it contains no more clues to her alien plotline. As you might expect, fans have many theories about Bella Goth and her disappearance. My favorite is that Bella Goth discovered the truth about the plumb bob, the green crystal above every Sim's head.
I actually forgot. There's a real reason why they had the plumb bob and why they named it the plumb bob. There's sim lore. You have no idea. There's actual sim lore. Yes, they know that there's a thing above their head, but they don't know why. It's so funny.
That's called a plumb bob.
She
found out the truth about that.
No, not a plumb bob. It's a plumb bob.
That could mean.
That
And
was
upset to
before
find
Rick and
that free
Morty.
will actually doesn't exist in the Sims universe, she started informing other Sims. But the aliens, which are NPCs and would be beholden to the design of the game, learn that she knows too much. So they abduct her and wipe her memory to save the game from a rebellious uprising. And you know what? Since there's no actual storyline, I choose to believe that. We should all choose to believe that.
Sims
That's
lore
because The
goes
Sims
hard,
is
chat.
supposed
You
to
have
be
no
a
idea.
life simulator. And much like life, you project your ideas and opinions onto reality until it actually becomes true. Or you just doubt everything else and have cognitive dissonance. Either way. But that vague approach to storytelling didn't serve The Sims well when they tried to create a massive multiplayer online game. In 2002, Sims Online debuted, and it was so goddamn ahead of itself. It was way before its time, but as revolutionary as it was
Was it before WoW, I wonder? Sims Online launch date. 2002! Paris Hilton endorsed it!
equally unsuccessful. Lacking solid goals for its Sims, players were unimpressed with the repetitive nature and the only few ways you could make money in the world. Maybe out of boredom, or maybe out of the
I would exploit the shit out of it if they released it now. It'd be easy.
Up nature of human behavior.
We don't like clowns here, buddy. Hit the road. This is a racist allegory. This is very, very inappropriate.
A lack of gameplay options led to a whole bunch of economy-wrecking behaviors. Players found that selling their clothes to one specific clothing rack could be done infinitely to gain infinite amounts of money. And of course, people started exploiting this, and they became an ultra-wealthy 1% within the Sims Online universe. And even though EA patched the mistake shortly after the game's release, it was already too late. Enough players exploited this glitch to become filthy rich with simoleons, and their purchasing power drove up costs of land and items, basically creating a perfect model for inflation in the online Sims in 2000.
I bet you they studied that too in economics.
Players who bought the game after the glitch was fixed had no chance of creating the same type of wealth, and it wrecked the game's economy forever. However, some people found a way to survive and thrive in this, what's the opposite of a utopia? Pooptopia? By committing crime. Jeremy Chase, a 26-year-old in Sacramento, founded the Sim Mafia. If you wanted to destroy another character's reputation, you could pay Chase to exploit the user's rating system and tag someone. He would then tell his
this Sim shit is serious!
gang, a loosely connected network of 100 people, to go up and tag this person as untrustworthy. It was a red flag you could give to other players.
It's like an actual
this would lead to the rest of
mafia.
the online players to assume that the character had done something awful and
This is so evil. You could do this to a lesser extent in MMOs, because everybody has a reputation, but this is attached to your name. That is so fucked up.
Effectively blacklist them from social interactions or trades.
God.
If you think that's
that is so bad.
Kind of sad, there was also cyber brothels. Well, like I said, it was way ahead of its time.
What?
A character named Evangeline organized a handful of other sim women to perform sex chats inside the game. Customers could even pay in-game simoleons to get a blowy J inside.
Yeah, that's not different from Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft. That still exists to this day. Online prostitution.
the game, which
Yep.
I don't know the science behind that, but eventually Evangeline was outed to be a 17-year-old boy in Florida, and that's always how this is. If you think you're talking to a hot woman online, it is a 17-year-old boy in Florida. This was revealed during an interview with Peter Ludlow, a professor of philosophy at the University of Michigan, who started a blog documenting the communities within The Sims Online. And I just wanted to include a quote from that interview here because it is such a perfect example of how unhinged the internet is. In the interview, Evangeline says, "Back in 2002, The Sims Online was filled with homeless, disgusting people. Jesus Christ. Everyone was new and innocent.
What are these words? Many
people say I brought sin into the game. I don't care. Sex sells, and it was my goal to create the greatest cyber sex house. I was never a...
You know what? You know what? Good for her.
Skill person. I needed money. Why skill when you can to keep food on the plate? This was...
Hold on, I gotta find the famous... It's the Craigslist ad. There it is, found it. Okay. Can I actually read it on stream? Yeah, she's clothed. Okay. Hello, chat. You're about to find out. This is on Reddit. This is an old ass thing. I need an epic bout. You can do whatever you want for me. Planning on getting double value for his gold. To talk trash all you want. Everybody you thought made fun of me for wanting to sell my body for some gold. Of course, she plays a night elf druid, naturally. Yeah. 5,000 G. I will be checking armory profiles. I don't know, man. It's just there's a will, there's a way, chat.
In Sims Online, the game failed, okay? Just straight up. Obviously, things were getting out of hand with The Sims Online, and EA rebranded the game before shutting it down for good in 2008. But that probably had to do more with the poor sales and just bad vibes surrounding it than it did have to do with player safety. And that's because EA has never been highly regarded as a company. Never, ever. We're gonna talk about EA for a little bit. In 2012, they were named the worst company in America.
No. I'm talking like way long ago. I'm sure they had a decent reputation. Yeah.
America by the magazine Consumerist, and in 2013 they were again named the worst company in America by the Consumerist. Yes. And honestly, the list goes on and on. In 2018 they were on the list of America's 20 most hated companies. Mind you, this is not video game companies. This is just companies in America. Do you know how badly you have to f up to be on a list with BlackRock and you just make video games? So it didn't really come as a surprise when they agreed to a buyout by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. For a historic $55 billion, EA became a privately funded company. Wow. There's just one massive problem with this sale. It's Saudi Arabia. They don't really hold the same morals and civil liberties as us Americans do. According to U.S. intelligence...
Yeah, but they love money. I don't think... have they changed anything about their games? I think they just love money. I'm not gonna lie.
In 2018, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved the murder of Washington Post columnists. And it's not just journalists getting the murder. It's, you know,
not really. Yeah,
if you're a woman's
right. No, why would they change things if they want to make money? Like, I don't know, be kind of dumb. Just saying. Not that I agree with them.
Tortured, captured. It's not a good place. There's slavery. It's not a good place. The Saudi-backed buyout offended many Sims creators who believe Saudi officials directly conflicted with their values and the greater values of the Sims community.
Yeah, but you're still gonna keep playing their fucking game, brother.
This led to a very interesting moment in the Sims creator economy. If you don't know, if you are a Sims creator, you got to be a part of the Sims content creator program. And there are I used to watch these guys all the time. There's a million creators that were a part of this, all making Sims content like designing houses and just having fun. And the majority of the big dogs all said, no thanks, I'm stepping away. It's insane. Fair. It's insane that they would do this. They built their whole careers around playing Sims, and they all had the moral aptitude to walk away from this.
Sure.
The public investment fund's acquisition of EA wasn't an anomaly. It's actually part of a strategy. The PIF is also heavily invested in Niantic, the makers of Pokemon Go, along with purchasing major stakes in companies like Nintendo, Take-Two, and Capcom. They even own their own esports organization. So... Turns out Saudi Arabia are just gamers? Yeah. They're just gamers. Well, no, actually. It's part of Vision 2030, a government-backed economic plan to shift the country from relying on oil. It's a long and boring geopolitical talk that, frankly,
yeah, because you're gonna run out of oil. You have to shift somewhere, otherwise you're gonna be fucked. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Yep.
barely understand. But the gist is that Saudi Arabia is worried about the future of oil and oil prices. So they're basically diversifying their investments, allocating billions of dollars abroad, and having the hopes of eventually owning a sizable chunk of all global.
Oh, actually, another reason is that people are finding alternatives and it might crash. It's all speculatory, but still.
Assets. The last few years in particular, they have scooped up a lot of entertainment products that it's a big bummer. For example, the WWE now routinely wrestles in Saudi Arabia.
I did not know that.
And there was that 2025 Riyadh Comedy Festival. It wasn't great. Although I'll be honest with you guys right now, Saudi Arabia is a piece of shit country and they do piece of shit things. I mean, I'm not rich. Like, if I understand, like, when Kevin, what's his name? Kevin Hart gets a $7 million, you already have the money. If they approached me with like $10 million, you guys would understand, right? That's just like, I'm out. That changes my life. But for the big dogs, it doesn't matter. I don't know. I told you guys I would sell out the first chance. Critics and human rights activists say this is a long plan to cover up all the human rights violations that Saudi Arabia is doing and used to do by whitewashing the mass execution of dissidents with their distraction of entertainment. You know, bread, circus, eat up, watch the clown. This idea is known as soft power and is essentially the strategy of exerting your power through influence rather than through coercion. So
America does this and people still argue that we're not a superpower. No, it's insane. Do you realize that an insane amount of propaganda pushes from the West is from America? Like, Europe has nothing on America. It's been happening since like the 60s.
Instead of having to explain or fight about the horrible things you're doing, you can just go, guys, John Cena's here. Can we all just focus on John Cena for a little bit? Why are we so mad? Which, to be fair, America doesn't do that. What was I gonna say? America, the brave, the beautiful, the Super Bowls to distract me from the Epstein files? That cannot be true. But okay, I know you're wondering how we got into geopolitical matters there, but to be, yeah, that's correct. I got a little sidetracked. However, I do think that to really talk about The Sims, you're talking about people, both real and fake. And you have to look at this concept from the top down. Sure, you become a player in The Sims, but this isn't a first-person narrative. Even though you play as and relate to your character, you're actually controlling someone else. In essence, you're God. And I think this is the appeal of the game to many people. And it's also the reason why a lot of users immediately kill their Sims. It's a power trip. It's an ego-inflating power trip. And maybe that kind of proves why God does the things he does sometimes. Sometimes you get bored. Sometimes you want to give somebody cancer just to see what would happen. So to my creator, Bigger Tug, if you're listening, I just want to say, why did you make me piss my pants in my bed until I was like 13 years old? Why?
That is not something I would have confessed to, I'm not gonna lie.
Why did you make me a chronic bedwetter? That changed my life forever. I could not peacefully sleep at sleepovers, and I ruined friendships by peeing in people's bed and then just leaving and not saying anything because I was so embarrassed. Why'd you do that?
Yo, this became a confessional real quick.
That to me, Bigger Tug. Was it fun to watch? It Sims sold out hard, and it fucking sucks as a game. It's just such a bummer. EA sucks so much. It used to be so good, and now there's no competition. That's the issue. There's a new game coming out.
I never was a bedwetter.
What's the name of the new game coming out? The ones that's supposed to compete with The Sims.
I've never been a bedwetter. I've peed my pants in public when I was like 5 years old. I've never peed in my bed. I don't know. I think it's common, but I never did that.
Paralyzed.
It just depends.
Everyone go look into Paralyzed, because that's what we're going to need. New videos every Saturday, sometimes Wednesday. Like, comment, and subscribe, and shout out the extra Tuglets. $4 a month, you get a whole bunch of videos. It's usually like 6. Between 4 and 6 at the least.
We have Tugglers too,
crazy videos where I talk about going
Tugglers.
on travel trips, and we can go to like Share Noble if we want to, or, you know, I answer viewer questions, or I talk about some horrific shit that I can't talk about on this platform. So check it out, $4 a month. You get your name at the end of the video. It's very fun. I wish I learned some Simlish. Also, I was going to interview a bunch of people for this video, but it's hard to reach out to these very squeaky clean content creators when my name is a dick joke. So I didn't get any replies. So that's on me. Unless I did get a reply and then I talked to somebody earlier in this video, but I don't think anyone's reaching out. So I'll have a good one.
He's
Goodbye.
lonely, dude. I feel that. I don't need nobody. I got my chat. Fuck them. Fuck everyone. Damn, he has so many Tugglers. Dude, it's crazy. Good for him. That was a great video. I love me some Sims.